Hello, movie fans. Big Daddy. Today we are going to continue our examination of film with just a quick review of the men who have been Bond. James Bond. Looks like 8 guys have had the honor of playing that character, the British super spy that boys, well, from my age up, have dreamed of being in one form or another. Kills the bad guys, gets all the girls. How could you not want to be Bond? Well, what we're going to do today is look at the people who have played, the men who have played that part, and pick, well, who did the job best. Or as my pain in the butt baby sister says, best Bond ever. Annoying little woman. Anyway, we have been debating that since, well, when she was little, but now she's really annoying because there's a Bond she's really attached to, and I vote. Chicks don't get a vote. Don't throw stones at me. But this is Bond. This is my boyhood hero. So, any case, just because she was a tomboy and just run around behind me and my brother doesn't mean she gets to vote on this. Well, don't tell her I said that. Anyway, let's start at the top, shall we? First up, there was a gentleman named Barry Nelson. Never heard of him. And I've only seen like rebroadcast kinescopes of the first filming of the Bond novel. And actually it was the first one, Casino Royale. And as a matter of fact, Casino Royale has actually been filmed 3 times. And the first one was this guy, Barry Nelson. Excuse me, it was actually done for television. British TV, I believe. But it was done for television. And extremely uneventful. If you can find the film now, you can hardly see it. It's all CD, and it's before they could preserve things well. So he's kind of a non-entity here, but he played the part, Barry Nelson. Is that his name? The next guy up is a gentleman from classic Hollywood and English films. His name's David Niven. If you watch great films, and I say this because there's a younger crowd out here. If you watch great films from the 60s back, you'll find Niven in every out of every 10, he's in 2 of them at least. Anyway, he played in the second version of Casino Royale. Honestly, one of my favorites. It's done for laughs and cool at the same time. Has an incredible score by Burt Bacharach. If you can find a Casino Royale, the original, don't compare it to the one that launched our current Bond, Daniel Craig, because that is another piece of art all of its own. These two, same, it's Shakespeare and Shakespeare, but different companies, different styles. Don't compare them, but you will really enjoy the original version. It's fun. It's a thrill ride. David Niven, so he'll be the first one we'll actually consider. David Niven's version in Casino Royale. Next up was Sean Connery. Because I set him in such a high platform, I kind of almost forgot him there. But Sean Connery, the man, the myth, the legend, the man who really is Bond. Other than the author of the book. Sean Connery was the next guy to play the part and played it many times, and he took a break, went away, came back, played it again. Never say never. First film I took my little boy to. Sean Connery. But here's the thing. Sean is an icon. He's deified. He's in Bond action movie godhood. So it's really not fair to compare him with everybody else. So Sean sits above the fray as a god of Bondom. So there's Sean. Everyone else gets graded. Okay, Sean left. The next guy they got was a gentleman named George Lazenby, and apparently it was his first movie. The critics hated his ass. They tore him apart. I saw the movie years. I was a grown man. I saw it. I'd never seen it. He was a good Bond. what I mean, he actually was good. I don't understand the records, but when it was like when whoever succeeded Muhammad Ali, no one really, you know, when you get out of the shadow of a giant, if you're the next one up, you're going to get overlooked no matter how good you are. And that's what happened to poor Lazenby. He got really overlooked. So after that fiasco, they went another way, as they say in business world. They hired Roger Moore. Roger played an urbane comedic. He kind of threw away the Bond. It was yes, I'm Bond and I'll kick your butt, but I'm so funny and witty. And heavy space gadgetry, which kind of liked, but it did for Bond what the TV show Batman did for Batman. It kind of camped it up a little bit, but it lasted a long run. I think he made 4 or 5 movies. That was my ex-wife's favorite Bond. I was dating her and married to her during his tenure, and I turned her into a Bondiac, but she glommed on him, and to this day, that's still her Bond. I like Roger. Fun guy. I'd love to have a cup of tea with him, with a little bourbon. But, yeah, Bond light for me. Next guy up. Now, I wanted someone else so badly that when this next guy got the job, I kind of boycotted his 2 movies. And once again, I have a rule about judging a movie before I've seen it, but I've broken that rule many, many, many times. So as an older man, I try not to do that. I did that with this gentleman. His name is Timothy Dalton. I watched The Living Daylights, and years after it had been out, I bought it, got it on video back in the time, videotape at the time, put it in my machine, watched it, and went, oh my God, he's a good Bond. I slept on that one. I boycotted both of his movies. I'd never seen them. Enjoyed both of them. Go figure. Timothy Dalton, a very good Bond. He brought an iciness back to it that Roger Moore had more or less, goofed it away. But he brought back that idea of Bond as an assassin, a cold-blooded killer whose job is to kill for Mother England, for Queen and Country. He brought that back. He lasted 2 times. Next up was the guy that I wanted in the first place. Unfortunately for him, he was stuck on a TV show, and NBC screwed him and held him to his contract when his show was Remington Steele. The man is Pierce Brosnan, and his show had hit its petering point. It was ready to go. Ratings were down. NBC was about to release him, and then they found out he had Bond and decided, I think we'll keep the show another year, thus screwing him out of the chance to be Bond. So Pierce had to sit on the sidelines for a couple of years. 3, 4, 5 years, whatever. He finally got the job. Luckily for him, he maintained his looks and his conditioning, and he was relatively young when he was doing Pierce Brosnan. He was doing Remington Steele, that he could still step in and play the part. And Pierce Brosnan took that Timothy Dalton, where Timothy Dalton had brought the coldness back. I think he took it even further, because there's another thing about Pierce that I like is that he can. There's a lot of great actors that are in touch with their dark side. You can see his eyes. He can flip a switch, and he can go from jovial to, and just scare the out of you. And he brought that to the part. One of my favorite fight scenes in a movie, period, is in the first one he made. Was it GoldenEye? Yes, GoldenEye, where 007 and 006 duel it out. One of my favorite fight scenes. These guys try to hurt each other, and the fight choreography was so good. Like Fred Astaire used to say, you shoot all the way back so you can see the dancer's moving, so he's doing it. Well, they shot a lot of the fight like that, so you can see these guys full body just going at each other. I love that. Loved it. That's dude stuff. Anyway, I digress. Pierce Brosnan. Love that guy. Loved his performance. Loved him as Bond. He was the Bond I waited for. Anyway, well, everyone is I think he did four. Or I think he had another one or two Bonds left in him myself, but the studios went another way. And then they brought on Daniel Craig. Now, Daniel Craig, Angela, Pima, my baby sister, has been on my neck in the debate. I say I shook the earth. I was so upset by that. On my neck, so obsessed with screaming in my ear in her high-pitched nasal Philadelphia voice, best Bond ever. Not the best Bond ever. I love him as Bond. I really do. And actually, honestly, I was one of those people that went, he's a fucking blonde. Yeah, a blonde. I know that is so superficial, quasi-racist. But the idea of, I just had this picture in my head, all these dark-haired guys. And when I think about it, Roger Moore, who I did, another trigger, I didn't think of it at the time, kind of blonde himself, didn't care for him. But anyway, all these dark-haired icons that I looked up to, and this guy comes along like, some friggin' pretty boy. And then especially if they start releasing the sets of him walking out of the surf all cut up and chittles, I'm like, yeah, he's Bond. But the women are like, which annoyed me. So I was not rooting for him, but I was saying, as Bond, I got to go see it. Because let me digress back a little bit. I have an emotional connection with Bond because it is the first movie that I ever saw. Not it, but that character, that movie. I went to see Thunderball. First movie I ever saw. I was 8. If I saw a movie before that, too young to remember it. But it was the first movie I ever saw. And I really didn't research it because I feel so emotional about Bond. I feel like I needed to research much, but now I'm thinking, because I shoot from the hip when I do these things, I should have researched a little bit more because I'm trying to, I think it was Thunderball. Or was it Dr. No? But, okay, comment and correct me. The scene where Ursula Andress is in this one, and she comes out of the ocean in that bikini. Now, I was 8 years old, and Ursula Andress gave me my first recognizable wood. I didn't know what was happening at the time, but I do remember it was a little uncomfortable in my seat watching her get out of that water. I'm just saying, wow. And by the way, Ursula Andress is also, I digress again, in the David Niven version of Casino Royale, also producing wood. Anyway, but moving back forward, to Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig is a fantastic Bond. Definitely in the top tier. I'm going to go ahead and cut to the chase on my estimation. I will reveal who I choose is the best. I am a Pierce Brosnan man. He looks like Bond. He sounds like Bond. He's elegant. He can fight his off and still look together. He's me in Irish form. Just a bad mother, shut your mouth. So, my vote is for Pierce Brosnan as the best Bond ever. Daniel Craig, I'll give him the number 2 slate or very close tie. And for those of you who are going to say that the last Bond movie, was the best one ever, you're right. The movie was the best Bond movie ever made. And I love the little nuances they did. The introducing this beautiful African British girl as Moneypenny. That was like, oh, love that. The Ray Fiennes bringing him full circle back to the male M, the M that you would, if you're old as me and watched them from the beginning, it takes us back to the M, the younger version of the M that would be yelling at Sean Connery in '63 when he was making the first one. And Fiennes has a real good feel on that. I mean, I liked the way they brought his character out as some bureaucrat. It turned out he's an undercover hard ass. It was the best Bond movie ever made. So Daniel Craig, I don't think you're the best Bond. I think you're one of the best. But you and your director and production company produced
the best Bond movie ever made. Now, all of this, Spectre, the next Bond movie, and this is why I'm dropping this one now. It was introduced today, December the 4th. Next week, they go into production of Spectre. And for all of you old-time Bond fans, remember Spectre was the evil organization that he was battling in most of those movies. And who knew that 50 years ago, they'd look up the road and see things like Al-Qaeda and ISIS would actually become actual evil organizations. Chaos from Get Smart. We used to talk about watching the shows, these evil organizations, and lo and behold, in the 21st century, we actually have these evil organizations. So, Daniel Craig takes on Spectre in the next film. I can't wait to see that. Best Bond ever, Pierce Brosnan. Best, and then of course, that's adapting ahead to the great and awesome Sean Connery as the man who invented the role of Bond. Not the character, but the role. Okay, thanks for digging us on the dudes list. And don't forget, subscribe. I need your support. I'm counting on you. All right, so we'll catch you next time, and I think we're going to catch a new movie. And then we'll probably come out with another one of these movies where we throw a big debate out there. If you have differences, opinions of what we're doing here, or something you'd like to correct, or 2 cents you want to put in, put them in the comments. I love to read that stuff. And if you want, videotape your own answer to me. I'll put it on. I'm cool. I love that stuff. Big Daddy out. Movie lovers.